Description. What if the secret to success isn't a grand, life-altering change, but a simple, daily commitment? In this unparalleled discourse, we unravel the revolutionary concept of improving just 1% every day. This isn't a quick fix. It's a masterclass on consistency, habit formation, and the quiet, unstoppable force that will transform your life from the inside out, forging a legacy that compounds far beyond your imagination. My friends, I want you to close your eyes for a moment, just for a moment. Let the world outside fade away. Let the incessant chatter of daily life recede into the background. And now, I want you to truly envision a different kind of tomorrow. Not just a new day, not merely another turning page on the calendar, but a revolutionary, a truly transformative new chapter in the magnificent, unfolding saga of your own precious life. I want you to imagine waking up not to a feeling of dread that often clings to your soul like a shroud, not to the overwhelming weight of a towering list of impossible tasks that seem to mock your deepest ambitions, but to a profound, exhilarating sense of clarity, of purpose, of an unshakable inner peace that fuels your very being. Picture this vividly in the vast, boundless theater of your mind. Tomorrow morning, you awaken. Perhaps the first golden rays of dawn are just beginning to kiss your window pane, painting the room with hues of hope. Or maybe the city outside is already stirring, humming with the familiar rhythm of life. But inside you there is a quiet and almost sacred tranquility. Instead of feeling the familiar, suffocating pressure of everything you think you need to do, the crushing weight of the world pressing down upon your shoulders, you feel a gentle yet undeniably powerful, unwavering confidence. Why? What has changed? Because in that nascent, precious moment of a brand new day, a truth so profound and so liberating dawns upon you with the clarity of a sunrise. You realize with every fiber of your being that today you simply do not have to conquer the entire world. You do not have to achieve absolute perfection in every endeavor. You do not have to miraculously solve every single one of your complex, intricate problems in one fell swoop. No. The path to mastery, the road to transformation, begins with something far simpler, yet infinitely more powerful. You just need to focus on one thing, and one thing only: getting 1% better. Now, as those deceptively simple words settle, I can already hear the inner voice of doubt stirring within the minds of some of you. It's the cunning whisper of skepticism, the insidious voice of the conditioned mind, honed by a world that screams for instant gratification and demands grand, often hollow gestures. It's muttering, 1%? What can that possibly do? It seems so infinitesimally small, so utterly insignificant. This is too simple to be the solution to my complex, overwhelming problems. My challenges are too great for such a tiny effort. That voice, my friends, is the voice of the lie that has kept countless souls trapped in the quicksand of mediocrity. It's the voice that tells you that you need a grand, heroic gesture, a thunderbolt from the heavens to change your life. That you need a monumental, life-altering moment, a dramatic lightning strike, a sudden, miraculous epiphany to turn everything around in an instant. But that, my friends, is the grand illusion. That is the very lie that has kept legions of ambitious individuals stuck, perpetually waiting for a miracle that never truly arrives because they are looking in the wrong place. The truth, a truth as solid, as undeniable as the very ground beneath your feet, is that lasting, sustainable, unstoppable growth isn't built on one single act of heroism. It's not carved from a single burst of superhuman effort. No, it's meticulously built on a relentless series of small, consistent, almost imperceptible improvements that don't just add up over time, they compound. This is the secret, not of magic, but of methodical, unwavering progress. Let's look at the simple yet astonishing arithmetic of destiny. Imagine a single drop of water. Insignificant on its own, it merely glistens for a fleeting moment on a leaf before evaporating into the vastness of the air. But now, picture countless, innumerable drops falling consistently, relentlessly, hour after hour, day after day, year after year, over millennia. What do they create? They can carve out the majestic Grand Canyon. They can erode the mightiest, most ancient mountain. They can become an unstoppable, roaring river that reshapes entire landscapes, an awe-inspiring force of nature. So it is with your efforts. Each small, consistent action is a drop, and together they become a flood that will sweep away your limitations. Consider another perspective. Imagine you are climbing a towering, seemingly endless staircase. If you focus only on the top, the dizzying summit, you will be overwhelmed. You will despair. But if you simply focus on taking the next step, and then the next, and the next, you will eventually reach heights you never thought possible. Each step is your 1%. If you were to start with 100% of your current capability today, and you committed to getting just 1% better each day, that's a daily multiplier of 1.01. Now, do that diligently, consistently, relentlessly for 365 days. For an entire year, you compute 1.01 to the power of 365. The astonishing, mind-boggling result, a factor of 37.78. That's right. You wouldn't just be 365% better, you would be 37 times better than when you started. 37 times better at your work, leading to an exponential transformation in your career, opening doors you never imagined. 37 times better in your relationships, deepening your bonds, forging connections that nourish your soul. 37 times better in your physical health and your mental mindset, cultivating a new, vibrant, resilient self. That is not just a number. It is a profound statement. It is the silent, unstoppable, undeniable power of consistency. This is the monumental difference between a life lived in perpetual frustration, a life of unfulfilled potential, constantly yearning for more, and a life lived in constant, deliberate, unstoppable growth. A life that becomes a living testament to your unwavering will, a masterpiece of your own making. By the time we are done today, you will not only understand how to harness this power, but you will possess the precise blueprint to apply it to every single aspect of your life. I am not here to give you a fleeting burst of motivation that fades with the morning sun or some elusive secret formula found only in ancient texts. I am here to give you a simple, timeless, and universally applicable principle. A principle so powerful, yet so accessible, that it will revolutionize your entire existence. It all starts, my friends, with just 1%. My friends, let's now peel back another layer of this powerful truth. Let's truly descend into the core mechanics of the 1% principle and expose precisely how it systematically defeats the two most insidious, most crippling enemies of all human progress: overwhelm and inertia. Consider, if you will, the first of these silent assassins. Overwhelm. It is a state of mind, yes, but it manifests as a suffocating paralysis. You harbor within your heart a grand vision, a magnificent, soul-stirring goal that glimmers brightly in the vast, boundless theater of your imagination. Perhaps it is the audacious dream of launching a groundbreaking business that will redefine an industry, or the quiet, profound ambition of crafting a best-selling book that will touch millions. Or perhaps it's the visceral, burning desire of sculpting yourself into the best physical and mental shape of your life. But then, as you turn from the dream to the daunting reality, as you truly gaze upon that massive, towering mountain in front of you, the sheer, breathtaking scale of the task paralyzes you. You look up at the distant, almost mythical summit, and a chilling thought whispers in your mind, "How can I ever get there? It's impossible. The distance is too vast, my resources too meager, my strength too limited." You feel a sense of dread, a profound sense of incapacity. You don't even know where to take the very first step. You stand frozen at the base, intimidated by the impossible enormity, and in that moment of paralysis, you give up before you even begin. This paralysis, my friends, is a silent killer of dreams, a desolate graveyard of magnificent intentions. Then there is its insidious accomplice, inertia. We know inertia. In the physical world, an object at rest tends to stay at rest, and an object in motion tends to stay in motion. But inertia is far more than a law of physics. It is a primal psychological force that clings to our very being. It's the invisible gravitational pull of your current reality, working tirelessly to keep you exactly where you are in the comfortable, familiar, yet ultimately stagnant patterns of yesterday. Inertia whispers promises of safety, of predictability, of ease. It glorifies the status quo. It celebrates inaction. It is the invisible hand that keeps you glued to the sofa, keeps your brilliant ideas locked in your head, keeps your muscles from moving, keeps your aspirations perpetually in the realm of dreams. This is where most people get stuck, perpetually caught in the gravitational field of their past, unable to escape its powerful pull. But here is the liberating truth, the precise counter-strategy. The 1% principle is the ultimate weapon against these two formidable foes. You still have that grand vision, that magnificent goal. It still burns brightly within you. But instead of attempting to conquer the entire mountain in one impossible, overwhelming leap, you simply put one foot in front of the other. You focus solely on taking that very first step. That's it. And then, with the slightest build of momentum, you take the next, and then the next. The journey is still long. It will still be difficult. It will still demand every ounce of your courage, but with each small, consistent step, you systematically build momentum. You cultivate confidence. You lay down a solid, unshakable foundation, and before you know it, you're not just at the base anymore. You're halfway up the mountain, looking back at the person you used to be, the person who was afraid to even start, and realizing how truly far you've come. Let me tell you something. A fundamental truth whispered by every wise person throughout history. A truth that echoes through the halls of every successful endeavor, every realized dream. It's not the big, dramatic, headline-grabbing moves that truly change your life. It's the small, consistent, almost mundane steps you take every single day. Starting small doesn't mean thinking small. Let's get that crystal clear. Starting small is not a concession to your limitations. It is a brilliant strategy. It's a powerful, intelligent, and deeply psychological way to systematically overcome inertia, to build inevitable momentum, to create lasting habits, and to move toward a bigger vision without being paralyzed by fear or the overwhelming size of your ambition. I want to share a profound example with you. Imagine a young woman named Clara. Clara had always dreamed of writing a novel, a grand narrative that had been swirling in her mind for years. But the sheer enormity of a 300-page book paralyzed her. The blank page was a terrifying abyss. She would sit at her desk, staring at the cursor, blinking mockingly, feeling the crushing weight of the great American novel, and then, succumbing to overwhelm, she would walk away. I introduced Clara to the 1% principle. I told her, Clara, you don't have to write a novel today. You don't even have to write a chapter. Today, your only job is to write one sentence, just one sentence. She looked at me skeptically but desperate. She agreed. The next day, she wrote one sentence. The day after, she wrote another. The day after that, one more. After a week, she had 7 sentences. Then something magical happened. One sentence became a paragraph became a page became a chapter. She wasn't focusing on the overwhelming goal of novel. She was focusing on the manageable goal of one sentence. The action of writing one sentence created enough momentum to fuel the next. In 2 years, Clara had not just a book, but a completed, published novel. It wasn't one grand act of writing. It was thousands of individual sentences, written consistently, 1% better each day. Starting small also helps you overcome one of the biggest, most insidious barriers to success: fear. Fear of failure, fear of not knowing how, fear of looking foolish, fear of judgment. But here's the profound truth about starting small. It's not scary, it's not intimidating, it's manageable. It's something you can do right now, today, without any excuses, without needing any external validation. If you want to get healthier, you don't have to run a marathon on day one. Just go for a 10-minute walk. If you want to learn a new skill, you don't have to master it overnight. Spend 5 minutes watching a tutorial or practicing a single chord on the guitar. When you start small, you give yourself permission to begin to take that essential first step. And beginning, my friends, is always, always the hardest part. It is the moment where inertia is broken, where the dream takes its first breath in the real world. My friends, let's now pull back the curtain on the very fabric of human achievement, on the silent, persistent forces that shape not just our days, but our destinies. We speak of two crucial, interconnected elements that transform the 1%. Principle from a mere philosophical idea into an unstoppable force for your life, an undeniable blueprint for your legacy. Habits and discipline. Have you ever truly, deeply stopped to contemplate how much of your waking life, from the moment your eyes flutter open until you finally surrender to the embrace of sleep, is meticulously, automatically, and almost invisibly built on habits? I mean, the countless things you do without even thinking, those ingrained routines, those subtle patterns, those seemingly insignificant little actions that you repeat day in and day out, week after week, month after month, year after relentless year. They're so deeply programmed, so profoundly woven into the very fabric of your existence, that they operate on a subconscious level, almost invisible to your conscious mind. They are the invisible chains that bind you to mediocrity, or the invisible wings that lift you towards greatness. But here's the profound truth, the liberating insight. Habits are the foundational pillars of success. They're what quietly, consistently shape your days, and inevitably they sculpt and define your entire life, charting your destiny without you even realizing it. Most people caught in the relentless, dizzying current of modern life think success is about those big, flashy moments, the grand achievements, the gleaming trophies, the headline-grabbing promotions, the sudden miraculous breakthroughs. But the truth, a truth whispered by every master and revealed by every empire built, is that real, lasting, sustainable success is meticulously constructed in the small, quiet, unassuming moments. It's built in the thousands of tiny, seemingly unimportant choices you make every single day. And most of those choices, whether you are consciously aware of it or not, are silently driven by your habits. So if you genuinely, unequivocally want to change your life, if you truly, deeply aspire to achieve something extraordinary, something that transcends the ordinary, you don't start with the big, intimidating, overwhelming things. You start by systematically building better habits. Let's delve into the very anatomy of a habit. At its core, a habit is simply a behavior that you repeat over and over until it becomes automatic. It's the brain's ingenious shortcut, its way of putting yourself on autopilot to conserve precious mental energy. Think of it as a neurological loop, a cue, a trigger, like seeing your phone, a routine, the action you take, like scrolling social media, and a reward, the dopamine hit of new notifications or information. This loop is so powerful because it operates below the surface of consciousness, driving your actions even when your willpower is depleted. And here's the critical insight about autopilot. It works for you or against you, depending on what habits you've unconsciously or consciously created. If you've diligently built good habits like daily exercise, reading, or consistent learning, they'll effortlessly move you closer to your goals, propelling you forward even when your body aches or your mind feels weary. If you've, perhaps unwittingly, built bad habits like mindless scrolling, constant procrastination, or unhealthy eating well, they'll just as effortlessly take you further away from where you want to be, sabotaging your efforts without a conscious thought. But here's the gloriously good news, the liberating truth, the profound promise. Habits are not set in stone. They are not etched into your being like ancient scriptures. You can change them. You can create brand new ones. You can systematically replace the ones that are no longer serving you, the ones that are dragging you down. And how precisely do you change a habit? How do you forge these powerful new neural pathways that lead to your greatest self? With discipline. Discipline. It's a word that for many people instantly conjures images of heavy weights, a burdensome yoke around their neck. It sounds like restriction, like sacrifice, like endless deprivation. It feels like a punishment, a joyless obligation. But for others, the wise few, the true masters of their own destiny, discipline is something entirely different. It's a source of ultimate freedom. It's a clear, illuminated path to unparalleled achievement. It's a secret weapon that sets them apart, propelling them beyond the limits of average existence. And I'll tell you right now, discipline is exactly that. It's the quiet, unwavering force behind every success story you've ever admired. It's the reason some people move mountains while others stay stuck in the valley of inaction, perpetually wishing. Discipline isn't about punishing yourself or living a joyless, austere life. It's not about deprivation or denying every pleasure. No. Discipline is simply your profound ability to stay committed to what truly matters to you, even when it's hard, even when every fiber of your being resists. It's about keeping your promises to yourself. Think about that for a moment. Keeping promises to yourself, isn't that one of the most powerful, most self-affirming things you can do? Because when you consistently keep your word, especially to yourself, you build an unshakable inner trust. You build self-integrity. And trust, my friends, that unwavering belief in your own capability, in your own follow-through, is the very foundation of true, lasting confidence. It's the bedrock upon which all great achievements are built. Discipline is like a muscle. You're not born with it fully formed, bulging with strength. No, you build it, and the more you use it, the stronger it gets, the more effortlessly it performs. It starts with small decisions, almost imperceptible choices. It's choosing the healthier meal when the unhealthy, tempting option is calling your name, its aroma wafting to you. It's waking up when your alarm goes off instead of hitting snooze, resisting that soft, comfortable pull of your bed. It's showing up to work on a task for just 15 minutes, even when your body aches and your mind rebels, screaming for distraction. These small acts of discipline might not seem like much on their own, almost invisible to the outside world, but they add up. They build momentum. They create unstoppable habits. And over time, they fundamentally, irrevocably transform your life, quietly carving out the future you desire. To build powerful habits, you must understand the art of the small. Don't try to change everything at once. Pick one habit. Make it so small, so simple, that it's almost impossible to say no. This is the 2-minute rule. If a new habit takes less than 2 minutes to do, just do it. Want to read more? Don't say, I'll read a chapter. Say, I'll read for 2 minutes. Want to exercise? Don't say, I'll go to the gym for an hour. Say, I'll put on my running shoes. The goal is to make starting so easy you can't refuse. Next, master habit stacking. Attach your new habit to an existing one. For example, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 2 minutes. Or, after I sit down for dinner, I will plan my top 3 tasks for tomorrow. This leverages the power of your existing routines. Finally, design your environment for success. Make the good habits easy and the bad habits hard. If you want to read more, place a book on your pillow. If you want to eat healthier, fill your fridge with nutritious foods and remove all junk food from your pantry. If you want to avoid distractions, put your phone in another room while you work. Your environment is a powerful, silent architect. Design it to build the life you desire. These strategies, fueled by daily discipline, are the unseen forces that will sculpt your destiny. My friends, I now invite you to confront the most dangerous moment on any journey. This is the precipice where the overwhelming majority of individuals, brimming with initial enthusiasm, tragically stumble and fall, forever separated from the magnificent success they so passionately craved. It's the moment when the vibrant, intoxicating initial excitement begins to fade, when the relentless hard work, day after day, doesn't seem to be paying off, when the external validation you yearn for is conspicuously absent, and you find yourself standing utterly alone in the desolate, seemingly endless expanse of the valley of despair. Most people, trapped in this chilling psychological labyrinth, interpret this profound emotional exhaustion as a definitive, undeniable sign that they're on the wrong path. They convince themselves that their tireless efforts are utterly in vain. Their minds, conditioned by the incessant clamor of instant gratification and the siren song of effortless success, scream for immediate results. They demand the abundant rewards without enduring the arduous work, the miraculous transformation without the agonizing patience. And so when they do not see immediate, dramatic, headline-grabbing progress, when the external world fails to reflect their inner commitment, they assume it's not working. They resign themselves, thinking it's not worth it. So they stop, they turn around, they walk away. And in that act of surrender, they forever forfeit the incredible, breathtaking rewards that would have inevitably come from simply staying the course. Let me ask you, with an unflinching gaze and a direct challenge to your deepest self, how many times in your life, fueled by genuine desire and lofty intentions, have you started something with fervor, only to give up on it, to abandon it, before you truly, unequivocally, gave it your all? Perhaps it was a fitness goal. You hit the gym with zealous determination for a few weeks, felt the initial burn, saw a fleeting glimpse of progress. But when the dramatic physical transformation you craved, that perfect physique, didn't miraculously appear right away, when the scale refused to budge with the speed you demanded, you stopped. The gym shoes gathered dust. Or maybe it was a business idea. You were ablaze with entrepreneurial dreams, fueled by innovation. But when the market didn't immediately embrace your genius, when the first few rejections hit, when the initial capital dwindled, you quit. The grand vision withered. How many times have you thrown in the towel because it felt too hard, because the discomfort was too great, or because you thought mistakenly, tragically, that it wasn't working? I'll tell you this, a truth that cuts to the core of unfulfilled potential. Every single time you quit too soon, you do not just abandon a goal, you rob yourself. You rob yourself of the chance to truly grow, to profoundly improve, to undeniably win. Because here's the reality etched into the very fabric of achievement. Success is never a straight line. It is not a flawless, effortless, upward trajectory. It is full of unpredictable ups and downs, daunting setbacks that test your resolve, and exhilarating breakthroughs that reward your persistence. And those tough moments, those agonizing, soul-crushing moments when every fiber of your being screams to surrender, when the temptation to collapse into comfortable resignation is almost unbearable, they are not there to stop you. They are there to test you. They are there to strengthen you. They are there to prove your mettle. They are there to see if you're truly, genuinely, irrevocably committed to what you say you want, if your desire is stronger than your comfort. The truth is, success takes time to show itself. It germinates beneath the surface, hidden from plain sight, often in the very darkness of struggle. Think about planting a seed. You meticulously put it in the fertile ground, you diligently water it, you ensure it gets ample sunlight, you provide it with the perfect nutrients, you do all that is humanly possible. But you don't see it grow right away, do you? For days, for weeks, perhaps even for long, agonizing months, there's no visible sign of life above the surface. But beneath that surface, in the silent, fertile darkness, something monumental is happening. The roots are spreading, anchoring themselves deep into the earth, drawing sustenance, building an unseen network of strength. The very foundation is being meticulously built. And then, one day, almost miraculously, that tiny, patient seed breaks through the soil, pushing through the last vestiges of resistance, and it begins its majestic ascent. That's how success works. The results might not be visible right away, but that doesn't mean they're not coming. I want to tell you a story, a timeless parable of unwavering perseverance and the profound power of unseen growth, the Chinese bamboo tree. When you plant the tiny, unassuming seed of the Chinese bamboo, you have to water it and care for it with unwavering diligence, with absolute faith, for 5 excruciating years before you see anything at all, above the ground. 5 years of no visible progress. 5 years of questioning, of doubt, of silent, seemingly unrewarded effort. Neighbors might mock your barren patch of earth. Your own mind might whisper, "You're wasting your time." But then, my friends, a marvel occurs. A spectacle of nature's relentless power. In a matter of just 6 weeks, the Chinese bamboo tree, having silently built its colossal, intricate foundation, explodes through the earth and grows over 80 feet tall. Why? Because during those 5 years, it wasn't dormant. It was relentlessly developing its root system. It was building a strong, intricate, subterranean foundation so it could grow rapidly, majestically, when the time was right. That's what it's like when you stick with something long enough to see the results. Your efforts might not pay off immediately, but if you stay consistent, if you keep showing up, if you refuse to quit, you'll eventually see the magnificent fruits of your labor, a harvest of unparalleled success. And it's not just the bamboo tree. Think of the master sculptor. She begins with a colossal, unyielding block of marble. For months, perhaps even years, she chips away, dust fills the air, fragments of stone litter the floor. There is no recognizable form, only the slow, arduous removal of excess. Spectators might see nothing but a dusty, messy workshop and a block of stone. But the sculptor, she sees the masterpiece imprisoned within. The valley for her is the unseen effort, the repetitive blows, the patience required before the form emerges. Her breakthrough moment might come only after a decade of silent, often discouraging work. This is the true nature of the valley of despair. It is not a sign of failure. It is a necessary stage of foundational growth. It is where you build the character, the resilience, the unseen roots that will support your massive future success. And only those who understand this, only those who choose to endure the silent, seemingly unrewarded effort, will ever see their dreams burst forth into reality. Now, let's talk about something that truly separates those who grow, who ascend to greatness, from those who remain perpetually stuck in the quicksand of their circumstances. It is the profound ability to take what seems like an impenetrable roadblock, what feels like an overwhelming obstacle, and with a shift in perspective and an iron will, turn it, actively turn it into an unparalleled opportunity. My friend, we have navigated the perilous valley of despair, a terrain where many dreams, once vibrant and full of promise, go to wither and die. But now we must ascend to a higher understanding, to a principle that transforms the very landscape of your journey. We are going to speak of a profound truth, an art, a science known only to the truly successful, the ability to transform crushing obstacles into unparalleled opportunities. You know, life isn't a perfectly paved, straight highway leading directly to your desired destination. No, it is by its very nature a rugged, unpredictable terrain. It's full of unexpected twists and turns, sharp inclines and sudden drops, daunting challenges that rise like impenetrable walls, and frustrating setbacks that often feel profoundly unfair, specifically designed to halt your progress. But here's the fundamental truth, the liberating insight that separates the masters from the masses. It's not about avoiding obstacles. That's a fool's errand, an impossibility, a fantasy that keeps you perpetually unprepared. It's about how you face them, how you respond to their inevitable arrival, and what you deliberately choose to do when life, with its unpredictable, often cruel nature, throws a debilitating curveball your way. Consider the common reaction when most people hit a wall, when they encounter that formidable barrier, that unexpected crisis. Their immediate, instinctive response is to stop. Their minds become fixated on the obstruction itself, paralyzed by its perceived invincibility. They see the obstacle not as a temporary hurdle, but as the definitive end of the road, the final, undeniable proof that their journey is over. They sigh, often with a tone of self-pity and resignation. Well, I guess this isn't meant for me. Perhaps the universe is telling me to quit. Maybe this goal is simply too hard. Clearly, I'm just not cut out for it. And that, my friends, is precisely where they miss out. That is precisely where they forfeit their potential. What they tragically fail to realize, what they steadfastly refuse to see, is that obstacles are not there to stop you. They are there to teach you, to stretch you beyond your perceived limits, to forge you and make you profoundly stronger. They are life's way of asking, with a challenging gaze, are you truly ready for this? Are you truly willing to work for it? Are you truly willing to grow into the magnificent person who can not only handle but conquer this challenge? The people who succeed, my friends, the individuals who ascend to the pinnacle of their chosen fields, they don't possess fewer obstacles than anyone else. In fact, due to their ambition, their daring, and their relentless pursuit of greatness, they often attract even bigger, more daunting challenges. But what sets them apart, what fundamentally distinguishes them from the struggling masses, is their unyielding mindset, their profound understanding of the obstacle's true nature. They don't see the obstacle as a dead end. They see it as a captivating puzzle to solve, an ultimate test to pass, a profound lesson to learn. They take the raw, uncomfortable difficulty, the pain of the setback, and with a strategic glint in their eye, they ask themselves, what can I learn from this? How can I use this to grow? What's the hidden opportunity, the disguised blessing buried deep inside this very challenge? I'll be honest with you. Embracing this mindset, this profound art of reframing, isn't easy. It demands immense effort. It requires consistent, disciplined practice. It calls for an unflinching willingness to let go of comfortable excuses and to take absolute, unflinching responsibility for your own growth. But I promise you, with every fiber of my being, it's worth it. Because every single time you overcome an obstacle, every single time you find the opportunity hidden within a challenge, you're not just moving forward, you're building a concrete, unshakable foundation for future success. You're proving to yourself, with undeniable evidence, that you can handle whatever life throws at you. And that kind of supreme confidence, that kind of unbreakable resilience is, without question, priceless. Let's delve deeper into this art of reframing. It's a psychological alchemy. When a negative event occurs, our default is to feel frustration, anger, or despair. But reframing is the conscious act of shifting your perspective. It's acknowledging the pain, but then deliberately asking, what else could this mean? For instance, instead of saying, this project failed, I'm a failure, you reframe it to, this project revealed 3 critical flaws in my approach, and now I know exactly what to fix. This moves you from victimhood to empowerment. Consider a modern tale, one that plays out in the world of innovation. Imagine a brilliant young entrepreneur, Sarah, who founded a promising tech startup. Her product was gaining traction, investors were interested, and her team was buzzing. But then, a sudden, unforeseen catastrophe struck. A critical server outage, a massive data breach, or perhaps a key supplier went bankrupt overnight, shutting down her entire production. The business, built on years of sweat and sacrifice, was on the brink of collapse. In that moment of crisis, Sarah had a choice. She could succumb to despair, blame external forces, and declare bankruptcy, as many would have done. But Sarah remembered the power of reframing. She allowed herself a brief period of grief for what was lost, acknowledged the immense pain. Then she asked herself, what is this trying to teach me? What's the opportunity hidden here? She quickly realized the incident forced her to confront systemic weaknesses she'd overlooked. The data breach meant she had to rebuild her security from scratch. But in doing so, she developed an unbreachable, cutting-edge system that became her new selling point. The supply chain collapse forced her to diversify suppliers, creating a more resilient and distributed production network. She turned a devastating blow into a catalyst for profound innovation and operational excellence. Her company not only survived, but emerged as a phoenix from the ashes, stronger, more resilient, and ultimately far more successful than it ever would have been had it not faced that seemingly insurmountable obstacle. This is anti-fragility in action, not just surviving a shock, but actually getting stronger because of it. Think also of the athlete, a symbol of physical prowess, who suffers a career-threatening injury. A sprinter, famed for his speed, tears his hamstring. The immediate response is despair, anger, the feeling that his identity has been stolen. His initial thought is, my career is over, I'm broken. But a true champion reframes. He acknowledges the physical pain, the mental anguish. Then he asks, what can I still control? How can I use this setback? He focuses on physical therapy with relentless discipline. But beyond that, he uses his time to study race strategy, to analyze his competitors, to understand the mental game of his sport like never before. He learns new training methods that don't strain his hamstring. He works with sports psychologists to strengthen his mental fortitude. When he finally returns to the track, he isn't just physically healed. He's a more complete athlete, a more strategic thinker, a more resilient competitor. He used the obstacle of injury to create the opportunity for holistic growth, becoming a champion in ways he never would have been otherwise. My friends, this profound art of turning obstacles into opportunities is not a philosophical luxury. It is a survival skill. It is a growth strategy. And it is entirely within your grasp. It takes conscious effort. It takes practice. But with every challenge, you courageously reframe. With every setback, you transform into a stepping stone. You build an unshakable foundation for an unstoppable life. Part 6, Progress over Perfection. My friends, let's turn our attention now to one of the most insidious, most debilitating traps that ensnares countless individuals and ruthlessly stifles their boundless potential. When we engage in the often unconscious act of comparing ourselves to others, most people tragically measure their worth, their success, their very identity in the most profoundly damaging way possible. They look at where they are right now in their raw, unedited reality compared to where they perceive others to be, or worse, compared to where they think they should be. And when that perceived reality, that meticulously curated facade of external success doesn't match up to their idealized, often unrealistic vision, they don't just feel discouraged, no. They feel a deep, gnawing sense of inadequacy. They get caught in this endless, debilitating loop of self-doubt and crushing frustration, paralyzed by the pursuit of a phantom ideal, because their entire focus is fixated on an unattainable, destructive ideal of perfection instead of the living, breathing, achievable, and profoundly liberating reality of progress. But life, my friends, does not, absolutely does not work like that. Growth does not happen in a straight line. It is not a flawless, effortless, upward trajectory. It is messy. It is uncertain. It is filled with stumbles and detours. And success is not, I repeat, is not about being perfect from the outset. It's about becoming better relentlessly, incrementally, day by day, moment by moment. It's about measuring your own courageous progress, not chasing the elusive, soul-crushing phantom of perfection. Consider the pervasive influence of our modern world. How often do you stop and truly look back at how far you have come? I'm serious. How often do you actually pause, take a deep breath, and take authentic stock of the growth you've already made, the battles you've already won, the mountains you've already scaled? Most people don't. They are so relentlessly busy chasing the next goal, reaching for the next milestone, scrolling through endless feeds of curated triumphs, that they utterly forget to celebrate the immense steps they've already taken. And that, my friends, is a colossal mistake. When you neglect to measure your progress, when you fail to acknowledge the small victories along the way, no matter how insignificant they may seem in the moment, something profoundly powerful happens. You lose momentum. You drain your own inner wellspring of motivation. We live in a world that craves instant results, that idolizes overnight successes. We are constantly bombarded by highlight reels, by fabricated stories of effortless triumph, by images of people who seem to have it all figured out. And when we, with our raw, unfiltered lives, compare ourselves to these polished, often illusory versions of reality, it's tragically easy to feel like we're falling short, like we are perpetually behind. But let me tell you something, a truth that will set you free. What you see on the surface is never the whole story. Every overnight success you've ever heard of was meticulously built on years, sometimes decades of relentless hard work, agonizing struggle, and painful yet powerful incremental progress. The problem is, nobody talks about that part. They skip over the messy middle, the part where the real growth happens, where the true character is forged. So here's what I want you to do. And I want you to commit to this with every fiber of your being. Stop comparing yourself to where you think you should be. Stop comparing your authentic, evolving journey to other people's perfectly edited highlight reels. That comparison is the thief of joy. It's the murderer of ambition. Instead, engage in the only comparison that truly matters, the only one that fuels genuine, sustainable growth. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, or last week, or last year. Look at the small steps you've taken, the habits you've built, the challenges you've courageously overcome. That's where the real, undeniable progress lies. That's where your true victory is found. The mere fact that you're even working towards something, the fact that you're putting in the effort, that you're showing up when others quit, means you're already light years ahead of most people. Progress isn't about big, dramatic leaps. It's about the small, consistent steps you take every single day. And the only way to keep going, to endure the inevitable plateaus and setbacks, is to measure your progress not against an illusion of perfection, but against your own living, breathing, evolving growth. Let me illustrate this with the story of two sculptors. The first, a young artist named Julian, dreamed of creating a perfect masterpiece. He would begin a new sculpture with intense passion, but as soon as he found the slightest imperfection, a tiny chip in the marble, a hairline crack, a subtle asymmetry, he would become distraught. He'd criticize himself relentlessly, convinced he wasn't good enough, and abandon the piece. He never finished a single major work. He was paralyzed by the pursuit of an impossible ideal. The second sculptor, an elder named Ilara, worked differently. She understood that no block of stone is perfect. She embraced the imperfections, learned from every misplaced chisel mark. She completed piece after piece, some good, some great, some less so. She never aimed for a mythical perfection on a single piece, but for consistent effort and learning on every piece. Over decades, Ilara created a vast body of work, and among her many sculptures, true masterpieces emerged, not because she was flawless, but because she relentlessly pursued progress through imperfection. She learned from every mistake, allowing it to inform the next chisel stroke. Julian, chasing perfection, created nothing. Ilara, embracing progress, created a legacy. So, how do you cultivate this powerful mindset shift? You cultivate it through deliberate, consistent action. First, define your own metrics for success. Stop using social media likes, or your neighbor's new car, or your friend's promotion as your yardstick. What does progress mean to you? Is it reading 10 pages a day? Is it one extra rep at the gym? Is it spending 30 minutes focused on your business idea? Make your goals small, specific, and measurable only by you. Second, track your small wins relentlessly. Get a journal, get an app, get a whiteboard. At the end of each day or each week, take a few minutes to consciously acknowledge every single small victory, every step forward, every promise you kept to yourself. This isn't vanity, it's vital. This is you providing your brain with tangible proof of progress, proof that fuels future action. Third, practice radical self-compassion. When you stumble, and you will stumble, do not descend into self-flagellation. Do not call yourself a failure. Acknowledge the setback, learn from it, and then, with unwavering resolve, get back on track. Perfectionism is about never making a mistake. Progress is about learning from every mistake. My friends, the fact that you are here today, listening to these words, searching for growth, means you are not most people. You are not willing to settle. So stop being so hard on yourself. Stop letting the illusions of perfection and the false narratives of others dictate your worth. Embrace your journey. Embrace your progress. Because you are doing better than you think. You are growing. You are learning. And as long as you keep taking those small, consistent steps, you are on the right track. You are building an unstoppable future, one step at a time. My friend, we have spoken of the seeds of transformation, of the unseen roots beneath the surface. and of the profound discipline required to sculpt oneself against the currents of instant gratification. Now, let us turn our gaze to the tangible, to the very architecture of a life well lived, built not on abstract hopes, but on deliberate, unwavering action. We shall speak of building a life you're proud of, brick by brick. When you truly pause, when you dare to envision the magnificent edifice of a life you're profoundly proud of, the grand scope can feel utterly overwhelming, can't it? You close your eyes, and in your mind's eye, you see it. A life brimming with monumental achievements, rich with deep, authentic relationships, blessed with an unshakable inner peace, vibrant with health, and abundant with purpose. This vision, so grand, so compelling, so distant, often makes us feel paralyzed, unsure of where to even begin. How do I build that, you might ask yourself. It feels so impossibly far away. But let me tell you something, a timeless truth that has echoed through the ages and guided every master craftsman, every architect, every builder since the dawn of civilization, every great life, every dream realized, every towering success story you admire, every enduring legacy ever forged was built the exact same way, brick by brick. It is never, not once, in the annals of history or in the tapestry of personal triumph about one grand, instantaneous gesture. It is never about a single miraculous leap of faith that transforms everything overnight. No. It is about the daily decisions, the consistent actions, the seemingly insignificant small wins that are patiently and relentlessly stacked up one upon the other over time. The inherent beauty, the profound elegance of building your life this way is that it places the reins of ultimate control firmly in your hands. You don't have to rely on the capricious winds of luck or the fleeting whims of hope. You can seize absolute responsibility and begin laying those foundational bricks today, right now, in this very moment. Think about the master bricklayer, a craftsman dedicated not just to the final wall, but to the integrity of each individual element. He doesn't focus on building the entire majestic wall in one exhausting, impossible day. That would be absurd. Instead, his focus is singular, unwavering, almost meditative. He concentrates solely on laying each individual brick as perfectly as he can. He places it with meticulous care. He aligns it precisely with his tools of discipline, the level for truth, the plumb line for integrity. He ensures it's perfectly solid, impeccably mortared, and absolutely secure before moving on to the very next one. And over time, those individual, perfectly laid bricks, seemingly insignificant on their own, don't just accumulate, they bond, they intertwine, they transform through patience and persistence into something strong, something resilient, something lasting, something majestic. That's precisely how you build your life. You focus on what you can do today, this hour, this very moment, and you do it with excellence. Then you do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the day after that. Before you know it, those small, consistent efforts, those seemingly unremarkable acts of daily dedication will add up to something truly remarkable. Something that stands as an undeniable testament to your unwavering will, a silent monument to your disciplined vision. One of the biggest mistakes people make, a mistake so common it has become almost a societal default, is thinking they have to do it all at once. They believe they need to make massive, unsustainable changes overnight. They start with a furious burst of energy, pushing themselves to the brink, convinced that more is always better. And when they inevitably can't sustain that furious pace, when exhaustion sets in, when the initial motivation burns out, they get discouraged, they crash, and they give up. But life isn't a frantic, exhausting sprint. It's a marathon, a journey of endurance and consistent, deliberate progress. And the most sustainable, the most profound progress happens slowly, steadily, and consistently. It's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about doing something consistent. Small efforts, meticulously repeated over time, are the only true path to big, lasting results. So, how do you lay these bricks in your life? What do these daily, consistent actions look like? Your physical bricks. Perhaps today, your brick is a 10-minute walk instead of hitting snooze. Tomorrow, it's choosing a healthy, nourishing meal instead of grabbing fast food. The next day, it's drinking an extra glass of water. Each small choice, a brick laid. Your financial bricks. Today, your brick could be saving just $1, as Arthur did. Tomorrow, it's reviewing your budget for 5 minutes. The next day, learning one new term about investing. Each penny saved, each piece of financial wisdom gained, a brick laid for your fiscal fortress, your relationship bricks. A brick here could be actively listening to your partner for 5 minutes without interrupting. Tomorrow, sending a heartfelt text to a friend you haven't spoken to. The next day, a genuine compliment to a colleague. These are the bricks of connection built with empathy and presence. Your career divided by skill bricks. Today, your brick might be reading just one page of a book related to your field. Tomorrow, practicing a difficult skill for 15 minutes. The next day, sending one networking email. Each moment of learning, each act of focused practice strengthens the walls of your professional future. Your character bricks. A brick could be choosing patience in traffic instead of road rage. Tomorrow, admitting a mistake without ego. The next day, showing authentic gratitude for a small kindness. These are the bricks of integrity, resilience, and compassion, forged by conscious choice. This isn't about perfection in laying each brick. Some days, your mortar might be a little messy. Some days, the brick might not be perfectly level. But the key, the absolute non-negotiable, is that you keep showing up. You keep laying a brick, because it is the act of showing up, the act of consistent effort, that separates the dreamers from the builders. This is how you reclaim control. This is how you construct your destiny. Part 8, the journey is the reward. My friend, we have meticulously laid the bricks of daily effort. We have built the foundations of consistent habits, and we have begun to sculpt a life of which we can be proud. But now, we must ascend to a truth that transcends the mere act of building, a truth that unlocks the profound, lasting joy of human endeavor. We are going to delve into the very heart of fulfillment, understanding why, truly, the journey is the reward. When you embark on any significant pursuit, when you set your sights on a towering goal, be it a monumental career achievement, a profound personal transformation, or the realization of a lifelong dream, it is incredibly easy to become entirely caught up in the end result. We are all guilty of it, aren't we? We focus so intensely, so single-mindedly on the finish line, on the moment of triumph, on the applause and the recognition that we tragically forget to appreciate, to savor, to learn from the countless steps along the way. And let me tell you, my friends, that is a colossal and almost unforgivable mistake. If you are only celebrating the final achievement, that singular, fleeting moment of victory, then you are missing out on the true, the most profound, the most enduring rewards of the journey. You are tragically depriving yourself of the growth, the invaluable learning, and the deep, quiet satisfaction that comes with every single step, every stumble, every small triumph, no matter how insignificant it may seem in the grand scheme of things. Success, in its deepest, most authentic sense, isn't just about reaching a particular destination. It's not solely about acquiring a trophy, a title, or a specific sum of money. No. Success is about the magnificent person you become in the process. It's about who you are, the character you forge, the resilience you build, the wisdom you acquire, while you are diligently, sometimes agonizingly, working toward that goal, not just who you are when you finally reach it. And if you're not taking the time to celebrate, to acknowledge, to savor each and every part of the journey, then you're actively robbing yourself of the true, incalculable value of the entire experience. You're leaving the most precious treasure buried, unseen. Think about that for a second. If you're always perpetually fixated on the end result, You're constantly chasing something that is just tantalizingly out of reach. You're always thinking, I'll be happy when I finally get this, or I'll feel accomplished when I achieve that. But here's the truth. The feeling of true accomplishment doesn't just come from achieving your goals. It comes from the work. It comes from the effort. It comes from the persistence. It comes from the resilience you demonstrate along the way. When you make progress, no matter how small, when you push through resistance, when you choose to show up on the days you want to quit, you should celebrate that. You should take a moment, a sacred moment, to acknowledge how far you've come, how much you've learned, and how much you've grown. This isn't about resting on your laurels. It's about recognizing your unwavering efforts, appreciating what you're doing, and being profoundly proud of what you've courageously accomplished so far. Consider the aging marathon runner, a man named Samuel, whose gnarled hands and weathered face told stories of 1,000 miles. For decades, he had chased the finish line, the roar of the crowd, the glint of medals. He trained relentlessly through scorching summers and biting winters, through injuries and doubts. But as he neared the end of his competitive career, a profound realization dawned upon him. The true reward wasn't just the fleeting moment of crossing the finish line or the collection of shiny medals gathering dust in a drawer. The real treasure was the person he had become on the journey, disciplined beyond measure, resilient beyond belief, mentally tough in ways he never imagined. The reward was the quiet communion of early morning training runs, the deep, unspoken bond with fellow runners, the overcoming of self-doubt with every single mile. His scarred feet, his aching joints, his tired muscles, these were not just signs of effort, but badges of honor, proof of a life lived fully in pursuit of something greater than himself. The medals were external validation, but the profound transformation of his character, that was the true, lasting reward. Or consider the master craftsman, an old artisan named Anya, who carved exquisite wooden sculptures. Her hands, calloused and strong, bore the marks of countless hours of labor. When she presented a finished piece, a work of breathtaking beauty, people would marvel at the final product. But for Anya, the true reward was not just the admiring gaze of others. It was the whisper of the wood as she shaped it, the feel of the grain beneath her fingertips, the challenge of transforming a rough block into a delicate form. The true reward was the accumulation of skill in her hands, the wisdom etched into her very being from every tool she mastered, every mistake she learned from, every hour of focused, solitary work. Her hands were not just instruments, they were living testaments to a journey of dedication. The finished sculpture was merely a milestone, the process of becoming a master, that was the profound and everlasting reward. So, when you make progress, my friends, no matter how small, no matter how seemingly insignificant, you must celebrate that. You must take a conscious moment, a sacred pause, to acknowledge how far you've come, how much you've learned, and how much you've grown. This isn't about resting on your laurels. This isn't about stopping your relentless march forward. No. It's about recognizing your unwavering efforts, appreciating what you're diligently doing, and being profoundly proud of what you've courageously accomplished so far. Celebrating the journey means patting yourself on the back when you hit a milestone, no matter how small. It means taking a moment to reflect on the progress you've made and giving yourself credit for doing the work, for staying disciplined, for pushing through the tough times. The person you're becoming along the way is just as important, if not more important, than the goals you're reaching. So take the time to recognize how far you've come. Celebrate your efforts, your wins, and your growth, because they truly matter. They are meticulously building a life you can be proud of, a life that reflects your true potential. My friends, we have journeyed far today. We have explored the silent yet unstoppable power of the 1% principle. We have dissected the very fabric of habits and understood discipline not as a burden, but as the ultimate gateway to personal freedom. We have stared unflinchingly into the abyss of the valley of despair and learned why quitting too soon is the greatest tragedy. We have embraced the profound art of transforming crushing obstacles into unparalleled opportunities. We have shattered the illusion of perfection and learned to cherish the undeniable living reality of progress. We have envisioned building a life of profound pride, not in grand, sweeping gestures, but brick by meticulous brick. And we have come to understand, truly, deeply understand, that the ultimate reward lies not just at the destination, but in the magnificent, transformative journey itself. Now, as we near the culmination of our time together, I want to leave you with one final indelible thought, a truth so simple, yet so profound, that it holds the very key to your future. Your life, my friends, is not some grand, sweeping narrative written in a single, decisive stroke. No. Your life is meticulously, beautifully, and powerfully made up of moments, small actions, small choices. And those moments, those seemingly insignificant choices and actions, performed consistently with unwavering intent, they are precisely what create your entire magnificent future. Do not, under any circumstances, underestimate the quiet, compounding power of small wins. Do not ever overlook the monumental importance of 1%, because when you stack them up, when you let them build relentlessly on each other, when you commit to them day after day, week after week, month after month, they will inevitably lead to something truly remarkable. They will lead to a life you're not just living, but a life you are fiercely proud of. A life that serves as a beacon of inspiration for all who witness your transformation. Your journey of 1,000 miles, that epic quest for your greatest self, truly begins not with a grand announcement, but with a single, deliberate step. And that step, the most crucial step you will ever take, is the decision to get 1% better today. Not tomorrow, not next week, but today. So I challenge you, take that step. Take it right now. Start small. Start with imperfect action. Think big. Think boundlessly. And never, ever stop moving forward. You have greatness within you. You have an untapped reservoir of power, of resilience, of brilliance, a potential waiting to be unleashed. But that greatness isn't revealed in one heroic moment, in one dramatic leap. It's revealed in the quiet, consistent choices you make every single day. The choice to be 1% better. The choice to keep going when every fiber of your being screams to quit. The choice to embrace discomfort and learn from failure. The choice to not quit. The choice, my friends, is yours. The power, the undeniable, unyielding power is yours. The future, a future brimming with possibility and purpose, is yours. Now go out there and make it happen. Thank you.